Good evening. It's the third night. Again, we got a lot of time, and got a bright light there, but we'll do the best we can here. Um, anyway, if I can kill that light a little bit. There we go. A little better. So, good evening. Third night. We'll had plenty of time today, so I tried to organize this a little better. Just let me know what you think at the end, and we can do more. So, we're going to start tonight by this record, which I don't have a cover, is titled Mike. Uh, Produced by Edgar M. Queenie of Queenie Tower fame from the people here in St. Louis and Queenie Park for Ducks Unlimited. And it is produced by the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Don't have a date. I'm thinking the late 60s. But from what I understand from searching online, I found it is the background music to the motion picture production of Mike. And that was apparently a movie that the Edgar Queenie put together to promote to tell the story of Mike, his Labrador Retriever. So if you want to search that out, you can see a 35-minute movie of Mr. Edgar Queenie out duck hunting and talk about his dog Mike. There you go. Now we got Herb Eberle, and he's a polka artist. Moved to California, but he's from St. Louis. And he put out a couple of albums, including a Christmas album, which someday we'll get to all the Christmas. But this polka is polka in Old St. Louis, and that's what we're playing in the background. Tonight, we'll change up a couple albums so you can actually hear a few of these as we go. And there's a picture of Mr. Eberle from the 60s there. There we go. Well, let's see. Just for my North friends, I came across this today. It's the 12-inch single of the Super Bowl Shuffle from the 80s. Of course, even the refrigerator, everyone looks very young in that one. Let's go. So I went through and I pulled out a lot of just very odd albums that I've come across. So tell me what you think about them afterwards. So here is the Jimmy Nelson's Instant Ventriloquism for Beginners. Yes, you too can spend the evening at home listening to this and learning how to be a ventriloquist. Put out by himself, gives you lessons on how to do the letters and do ventriloquism so that you can amaze your friends and take on another job. Then this is an old, I believe it's a 78 actually. But it's a very early album by Liberace, way before he got really flamboyant. He was more of just a concert pianist back then. So it was interesting. Picked it up, and then we're going to follow that with there was a large Latin craze, and Liberace's brother was his orchestra leader, George Liberace, put out a Latin themed album, and trying to jump on the bandwagon there. There were quite a few Latin albums at the time. And this one, still sealed as a matter of fact, is Sleep with Pat Collins, the hypnotist. So I have not listened to this. I need to look it up. I think it's more of a comedy album, but apparently it is. She did an act where she brought people on stage and hypnotized them, and they took the time to make a full-length LP of it, long before video was available, obviously. And here is an album entitled The Organic Times, which the 70s was kind of a thing of doing a monthly or quarterly magazine on a vinyl. So it's apparently you were supposed to return it with your affidavit and you could learn some gardening. It was produced in New York City. Very simple cover, nothing on the back. But new day, another edition of the Organic Times. Was actually on that one. Extras in skincare, The Generous Giant, Toxics or Poison, and Guide to Bike Bags. So apparently they weren't doing a lot of um, car driving either. So that's useful for all our bike friends. And then this is a classic thing to do at home is music you grow your plants by. So might be useful these days since we're at home watching the plants grow. I actually change the record and see what that's. Just one track on side one, but we'll kind of music you need to grow plant. Sound and energy for plants. Oh, looks like there's fire in this. Ah, it is actually a little booklet to teach you how to grow plants successfully at home. Pretty upbeat, jazzy sound going on there for. And then perhaps I could play this whole album through one evening and we can listen to it. It's wants to make bingo cards, and we can play bingo all night. We have time. Album playing bingo. The interesting thing is, my guess would be it is going to be the same numbers every time. It even comes with bingo cards. And it was actually put out by a major label. Oh, and has the die. You can card. Full bingo kit is here. You're enjoying it. Maybe Cindy and I'll do that one. Here is product. This out is so very common in the 70s. You bought a new like organ for the house, did an album demonstrating it. Play piano in 1 hour course. And obviously came with piano, but you spend a lot of money on the cover work. Blue, a little bit of instructions on the back. Which when I don't have a keyboard, so I'm not going to be able to learn to do that in an hour while I'm sitting around. And then I'm sure this is a one-time deal, but there was a Discover Yourself Through Astrology album. You can sit around and look at your star sign and discover yourself. And is important. What else? And then, because we have a lot of time to one series of 7 of 10 discussions, I only have one, unfortunately. Charles Frankel discusses philosophy. Sit around and discuss their philosophy inclination. A lot of time they have. It has titles like Philosophy in the Ordinary Man, What is Philosophy? The Future of a Free Society. There he is, Mr. Finkel, looking very serious and studious. Maybe I can move into a new career while I'm sitting around the next week or so. But here is a learn to do steno, speed steno typing by LP, and I actually have the follow-up steno boost LP as well. You can tell very 60s. I like the record players who's hanging out with there. And along with that, there's apparently other albums in the series. 2 Hour Shorthand, Typewrite, many albums. And like they even had a booklet to read along as you're learning and listening to the LP. Very much a 60s and 70s thing of learning new skills by record album. They turned into cassettes in the 70s, 80s, and then now it's all podcast. But it's interesting because the LPs, you only had 20 minutes aside at best, so you have to be concise. Here's how to be a better bowler. Um, and it's very much a 60s bowling album, but nothing like learning new bowling skills through an LP sitting in your home. Introduction, the ball, the stance, straight ball or hook, and delivery. Same series, because it's on the same record label, Carlton. Here now, how to play and winning bridge. Bridge is kind of fallen out of style, but it was a big thing in the 60s and 70s. And you two could learn to play bridge. America's foremost bridge authorities apparently discussing it. And we've got two albums here that are very much in the full-on 70s mode. All ears, 10 original songs with a CB theme. So we need to all break out our CB radios and ham radios and start talking around the world while we've got time hold up in our homes. There's all the fine CDs you can buy at quality prices. Sure. Many of them are realistic, actually, from Radio Shack. All realistic. Titles like Hey Shirley, This Is Squirrely. Come on, CB baby. Hey good buddy, Where's My Baby? And all the other classics. I also have another one that's for the learning skills. New record makes it easy to learn your CB language. So you can learn all the lingo and be ready to get on there and start talking to people around the world. CB phrases needed on the road. And here is basically a Columbia compilation, but they were desperately looking for a theme. Got a lot of top 40 songs from the 50s, very poppy. Tony Bennett, Percy Faith, Frankie Lane, but it is music for babies. So apparently you play this album and children will be relaxed and happy all the time the parents. O. Henry short stories read by Robert Donnelly. Unfortunately, I do not know who Robert Donnelly is, but you can find a lot of these poetry reading. A lot of times it's a more famous author. This, again, another nice skill to have while we're sitting at the home lot is health and yoga home exercise. Introducing your personal guru, the Flying Yogi. We should see what the Flying Yogi. It was very perky music for plants, I have to admit. All right. Well, starting up, we'll continue. F.S. Woolworth Company. This is a pretty common theme for a while. History lessons through albums. Mr. Woolworth, a musical review apparently written just to tell the story of Woolworth stores. A lot of my younger friends will have no idea who that is, but and no one really famous involved in it. They wrote songs for it, quite interesting. The Woolworths Manager's Work Song, Woolworths Country, What Notion, and Shopping at the Woolworths Store. And then this is a complete joke album. I'm not even sure if it has grooves. Music for half-ass friends. Suggested title. Kind of Made in Chicago. It was kind of a, and it came with the insert that says, "I bought this album for you as a gift. Sorry, I couldn't afford the record." And I believe it actually has nothing on it, but the title says Bill Warner's Warm Platter for a Hot. Then for all my German friends, this is an older one on Capitol Records. German beer drinkers. You never have enough of them. I know I've always enjoyed them. And there's the fine orchestra leader, capital of the world. So actually in German as well. Here's another skill-related album. Sound and Picture Evening, 30 bands of unusual background music. So this is for before video and editing your own things on home. It is an album of sound effects and background music so that when you invited your friends over and set up the slide projector, place the music for your slide in a photography shot. So your whole family and friends could be entertained by your beautiful photos and some background music. And we're going to play some of this one next. This is in the 70s, they would enlist stars to help promote one thing or another. And this one was teeth, the whole teeth and nothing but the teeth, trying to promote everyone to have better dental health. And they were able to get Muhammad Ali, Pat Boone, Herbert Humphrey, Jimmy Carter, Lily Tomlin, Richie Havens, Howard Cosell, and Billie Jean King, and been hired. I think it's the same people who did some of the Schoolhouse Rock art. The whole story with it. A little bit. And wait, here's some of the teeth. Whole teeth and nothing. And as we go along there, this is the American Freedom Train album. There's Howard Cosell. So this is a quadraphonic disc, no less than sealed, put out by the Freedom Train, which my understanding is it actually toured America during the bicentennial in 1976. And this was the souvenir album you could buy to go along with it. And AT&T, as they used to be known, put out an album, and this you see a lot in cutout bins, or today it's Goodwill, of a collection of music related to the telephone. Hello, My Baby, All Alone, Pennsylvania 6500, Glenn Miller, again, fairly well-known artist doing songs all related to the telephone. And I've got a couple here that was a very common thing for a while, is record companies are actually stereo companies. So like if you would buy a Zenith turntable or stereo system for your home, they would give you this almost as a test record, so that you could test to make sure you had everything set up right to have the best acoustics in your home and everyone could enjoy it. And then they had samples of different music to hear. All right. Now here's one from RCA Records. Same type of deal, some classical, a little bit more pop music, but they have pictures of their fine system there. And this was to help kind of set up the acoustics and give you a sampler so that when you bought your new stereo system, you had something to hear. Here's one from Magnavox. A little later on, got Frank Sinatra on the front and a lot more pop artists on there. Even has the Association, Don Ho, Count Basie. There's also a series of car dealers would do this as well. The Great Buick Machines and the Great Talking Machine. And it was why cars would put out an album. So they couldn't play it in their car. But they would promote their cars with these albums. This one was from B.F. Goodrich, which is actually a picture disc made to look like a radial tire, which is quite interesting. Pretty common. And then there's a couple of electronic albums that were kind of a thing when Moog really took off. Actually, it's a little bit collectible. It's the age of electronic. And we're going to put that on. Here's the Moog synthesizer pops. If there's other themes you'd like me to do, I'm happy to do that. I can do movies too for a while, and I can rattle on about these more if you'd like. But the Moog has actually had quite a renaissance the last few years, and some of these Moog albums are actually in demand. It's actually on ABC, which was a fairly major label when it came out. Break into some Beatles. In the age of electronics, you would have a picture of the fine system it took to play this album on. It's kind of been condensed now. The same type of deal, Kimasabi, is the electronic Moog synthesizer. Full on Moog there. This one is a nice relaxation album. Has one groove. Most likely, I believe a lot of these would have the instructor talking you through a nice relaxation exercise. And it could be more than 20 minutes because that's about all you can get on the side of an album. And then this one I've seen quite a few places as music from Marlboro Country. The Marlboro Man was a big deal. And then it's got a lot of musical moods from the Marlboro Man. A lot of themes from Westerns, and pretty much that's the basics. Here's another joke album here for everyone who hates all types of music. It's the Nothing album. And each side got one band, and it has nothing on it for 20 minutes. Silence is Golden on side one, and Blessed is he who expects nothing on side two. So you can listen to it. Actually, take the time to listen to an album and hear nothing. Then we've got a couple of sports albums here. So a lot of times, again, in the 70s, 80s, and 60s when this really started. But here's the Cardinals from World Series, 1982 World Series. They have a lot of highlights and kind of tie together a story. A lot of earlier ones, some of them have Harry Carey from the 60s. Here's the Blues record album. So I have this one sealed from their season of records from 80 and 81. Have a nice treat to have. This is the 1967 one. Harry Carey and Jack Buck. Doing some of the before he moved to Chicago. Now I'm going to do a little bit of children's music, and then we will call it an evening. I'm getting close to half hour, which is pretty long. Might be way too long for this thing. The Banana Splits, TV show in the 70s, and they actually put out an album, had a couple hits, tried to tie in like the Archies did. They would do a lot of stupid skits and play cartoons in between. I remember it fondly on Saturday mornings. And just recently, in the last year, they actually rebooted this as a horror movie and made these creatures from our youth vengeful killers. Activities for a baby, songs and activities babies can do, provided they can operate a turntable. And I don't know who drew this, but it almost looks like the baby pooped all over the floor. Here's the woman on the back who developed this fine album, was able to get produced for parents to teach their kids. And this is definitely an 80s artifact. They actually had a hit single. And we're cashing in on the Pac-Man thing going on for a while. There you go. A couple of PBS things. Here's Disney actually did a tie-in with the electric company and PBS. They actually put out an album of songs from the electric company. The theme song and a couple other ones. I am not sure who did the singing, but I don't believe it was the original art. This one's a very interesting one. I will fire it up. Got some nice St. Louis type. 26 songs of the. This is the Letter People, which was a PBS show in the 70s. And actually, I believe they only made 26 episodes, one for every letter. But it was produced in St. Louis. It was about the same time as Sesame Street. And they had really kind of strange puppets for each letter and a song for each letter as well. And I think they made an episode for each episode or each letter to help children with learning their alphabet. And it's, I believe it was actually made at the PBS station in St. Louis. This album was made in New York, but I think the show was shot in St. Louis. Someone can correct me if it's not. But it was a PBS effort here. And it's never a bad time to have a couple of Mr. Rogers albums from the original era. I believe some have been reissued recently with this the new movie and some things going on. Another one of his fine albums with him singing and some performing, but mostly singing and gentle way. And for those of us who are a little bit older, there's one of the Romper Room albums. This was done nationwide, and every city had their own Miss Lois or Miss Lisa that would host the show, and people would do that. And then they had these songs and games that they would sing and invite local kids to be on. Another program was called Zoom, favorite of my sister's, as I believe. I think they tried to reboot it in the 90s, but it lasted for just a couple seasons. And it was kind of an older version of Sesame Street, more adolescent. They would take a lot of things sent in by kids and read it on the air and try and do a lot of dancing, but it was kind of hip for a while. Up here. This, and we'll save the other one for later. So, I'm gonna go over Captain Kangaroo. The captain, he did quite a few albums, stories and songs. This one is Peter and the Wolf with Captain Kangaroo reading, and Leopold Stokowski in the orchestra. He's the person who did a lot of stuff for Disney. Well-known conductor, but it's nice to have him reading Peter and the Wolf. And then Treasury of House, best loved area singing children's songs. Another one. But he was very popular and was on CBS for years before he finished up on PBS, and then PBS tried to replace the captain. That was a bad day. And there's his Just Those Stories. And I do remember having this album as a child, playing it to death, which my parents did great. Very entertaining. There's the 45 of it. There's Captain Kangaroo with orchestra and chorus. And he was very, very much into teaching music and learning early on. He's definitely one of the pioneers in it. And I know there were a lot of local people as well who had shows, but Captain Kangaroo was a big one. And here's the Fun Games and Activities. This is actually a very early one. It has a picture of him with a big clock. Kind of intimidating. All right, I've gone over 30 minutes tonight. Hopefully it's not too long for people to watch. Give me feedback, what you think, and we'll be back tomorrow and do some more. Have a good evening. Everyone stay safe.